Welcome to On Target. In this episode, we're going to be talking about everything as it relates to data, the avalanche of it, and how to truly maximize your opportunity by leveraging the right type of metrics to truly drive impactful performance for you and your sales team. Now, just to take a little bit of a half step back here, when I was a sales leader in one of my recent roles, I often talk about what I call the avalanche of data, because initially, when you have so much data and so much what feels like opportunity to look into various different insights, it can actually feel like a gold mine. But really, there's a twist in all of that, because what I noticed was the fact that I had so much data, so much addressable data to look into, it can actually obscure your ability to cut through the mud, look straight down the lens and really understand what is the data that's really going to help me to make a difference for my team and for the impact that I need to drive on a daily basis. And so it's really that understanding that the paradox of more data doesn't necessarily mean it's more informative. In many cases, more data can actually mean less insights. And that's because having too many data points can actually sometimes cloud our judgment. It might mean that we try and reinvent the wheel. We're focused on irrelevant metrics, and we actually end up missing out on the bigger picture as we try and find actually the single source of truth amongst many different data sources. So then it becomes a question, well, what do we actually do in this type of scenario? And what I would advise is that you want to really cut through the noise. It's all about simplifying ultimately. So what I'd say is that you really want to find 3 to 5 core activities, core metrics that actually genuinely move the business forward. And for most sales teams, this tends to boil down to a couple of things. One is daily conversion. So how many does your team actually have, right? How many daily conversations are they having, right? So how many people are they reaching out to on a daily basis? What do the activity metrics look like? Because if you're having enough quality conversations on a daily basis, you're ultimately going to drive a great outcome in the end. And the second is the closing rate. So how strong is your team's ability to close and to convert interested prospects into actually closed won business and materialize revenue? Now, if you actually zoom out and you break it down, if your team is having enough conversations per day with enough overall activity, and they are converting those conversations at a strong enough percentage, you have a business that is growing. You have a business and a team that is winning. Whereas if you look at quite the opposite of that, if you're not having enough conversations and your team have very poor closing rates and conversion rates, then your team isn't winning. And so you could look at many different metrics and a lot of different data, but fundamentally, if you have those 2 core ingredients, you have a good, strong performing team. And if you don't have those 2 ingredients, no matter what other metrics you look at, your team isn't going to be performing. So the message here is that we really want to focus on what matters. The beauty in all of this is actually in simplicity, and you can quickly identify areas that need your attention by focusing on a few critical KPIs. And then if these KPIs or these metrics dip, you're in a prime position to deliver some form of focused training, coaching, and enablement to really put yourself in a position where you can turn that ship around without getting lost in a sea of irrelevant data. So if I had to really capture the key takeaways in all of this, the first one is to avoid data overload. Too much data can lead to losing focus, and really you're going to have a diminishing return in that sense. Secondly is the fact that simplicity is key. Focus on 3 to 5 core metrics that truly make a difference and impact your business. And third is to have an effective response. So really, the simpler the data approach, that's going to allow you to have a more targeted and effective improvement strategy. So really, let's just embrace more simplicity, more focus on the things that truly move the needle. I'm happy to go into a bit more depth or detail. If you'd like to really unpack this in a little bit more depth, feel free to message me on LinkedIn and I'll be more than happy to help. I hope you found this episode useful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.